She'll start in a couple of minutes, inshallah. I'm having a technical difficulty, as usual. I'll fix it and we'll start, inshallah. Okay, we're ready to start, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. All praise is due to Allah, and may the best of peace and blessings be on our Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. Anybody remembers what we talked about last time? We started talking about last time. Not in detail, but just give me an idea.
The 7 characteristics of a successful person.
The 7 characters of the most successful persons, of the 7 habits of the highly effective people. And this is, if you don't know, this is the title of a book by Stephen Covey, and one of the best, it's a bestseller book. And we discussed last time the first 2 habits of those people who are highly effective, and we tried to connect this to the Quran, because this is some kind of hikmah in there, some kind of wisdom. And we are always, as believers, after wisdom, whatever it could be, whatever it comes from. He was talking, the first of those habits or principles adopted by the highly effective people. Anybody can remember? Being proactive proactive, yes. Being proactive, which is like taking the initiative, thinking independently, and this is what Allah said in the Quran, إِنَّا هَدَيْنَاهُ السَّبِيلِ. We guided, talking about the human being, we guided him the way. إِمَّا شَكِرًا وَإِمَّا كَفُورًا. Either grateful or denying, kafir or rejecting. So everybody is guided this way or that way. And a reactive person is somebody who would blame everything on others, who would not take responsibility. A proactive person would take responsibility for his or her behavior. They would not blame things on outside certain things. They would rather, work hard and take responsibility and try to, take the initiative of everything. They focus on what's called the circle of influence rather than the circle of concerns. They are not very emotional, but they don't count much on things that are not attainable. They are rather realistic, and they work within the circle that they have control over. Allah Azza wa Jalla said, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah does not give an obligation for somebody that he or she cannot afford, or a soul that she cannot take. Allah does not impose hardship. Allah gives you what's within your capacity. But you don't want to stay your entire life blaming on the circumstances, the family, the genetics, the whatever it could be, that you don't have any power to change. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to be proactive in his ibadah. When he prays, he would pray continuously, not just like going like boom in Ramadan every night, mashallah, and then nothing is in there. No, being proactive is being always active and continuous in what you are doing. This person, the proactive person, would not usually be this kind of person who will build his or her decisions based on emotions or rushing to say something that they would spend a long time after that regretting. That's not this kind of person. This is a wise person who thinks, who controls his or her emotions, and part of what we have to control is what we say, because we will be judged and we will be responsible for what we say. That was principle one. And one of the most important, before we leave it, one of the most important guidelines in Islam to teach us how to be proactive is that there is no prophet after the prophet. But every one of us is playing the role of the prophet. Like he should be like a good person, but that's not it. You have to be proactive. You have to carry this out. You have to take this message of goodness out to everybody. The Prophet ﷺ told us to convey on his behalf, even though it's one single verse. One single piece of advice, share it. Take it and share it with others. In other words, be proactive. That was habit one. We discussed it in detail last time. Habit two.
To have a target, like a goal in life.
To have a target or goal. In the words of our author today, begin with the end in mind. Begin with the end in mind. So you start doing the action, like be proactive, do what you have to do, but before you start, you have to know that you have to have a target, you have to have a goal for what you are planning to do. Those people will be very good in managing their time. They will be very good in having a vision. If we say, for example, the habit one is talking about what? In the first place, it's talking about choice. You choose. You have control in what you say and what you do. Habit two, begin with the end of mind. It remarks vision. You have to have vision for what you like. Before you start doing the action, have the blueprint for any building before you start working on the building. So you have to have a structure, outline, blueprint, whatever you call it. In other words, vision before you do anything. Those will be like planning people who are always planning for what they are shooting for, not just going haphazardly like this. And the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told us this example. It was so clear in his mind. The goal, what was his goal? His goal was the salvation of people. And najah min-nas. It was not to doom them or something. That's why when they were very nasty and very bad in dealing with him, they pushed him out of Mecca. The people of the other city, At-Taif, they dealt with him so bad. And he was offered the option, like the angel of mountains came to him from Allah, and Jibreel told him, this is the angel of mountains. If you wish, just ask him and he could crush them between these two mountains. But the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, even though he was so weak and he was so oppressed and persecuted, he did not go for that, because that was not his plan. That was not his goal. His goal was to save them. Because if they die right now, they will die like non-believers, people who deny the Prophet, and they will not end up in any good place. And that was not his goal. His goal was so clear in his mind. Guidance for people. He said it so clearly. I hope that Allah will bring out from those people a generation or kids or children that will worship Him. So that was his goal. And that happened, subhanAllah, that from those enemies, opponents of Islam, came very supportive people for Islam, like from Abu Jahl, the worst enemy of Islam. His son Ikrimah was one of the leading companions. So we have to think of the goals, we have to have some goals, and we have to work proactively to reach and attain those goals. Begin with the end in mind. So you have to have a choice and you have to have a vision. Today or tonight we will be talking, inshallah, about two more, maybe if you can catch more, two more habits of the highly effective people. Being proactive, begin with the end of mind. Number 3, habit 3, put first things first. Put first things first. In other words, prioritize things. You have to have priorities in life. We have so many things in this life. Allah give us the gift of life, and we would live for 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years, whatever, and we will have hopes to achieve things that would probably take 1,000 years, maybe 2,000, maybe 5,000. So we will have a lot of hopes or a lot of wishes and a lot of things to care for and a lot of things to think of, but obviously we will not be able to do all of them at once or in this limited time. So we have to have some priorities for this. We have to have some planning for what is the most important thing that should come number 1 or in the top of the list, because many people they take the least important things. They are still important. We have so many important things, but you will need 2-3 lives over your life to achieve all of these important things. So unfortunately you cannot do everything in life. Life is limited, it's temporary. So you have to think wisely to put the most important things first. Put first things first. And you remember the example we talked about before? And the author gives this example in his book. If you have 2 jars and you have sand, water, or let me give it to you the other way around. We have this jar and we have some rocks, big rocks, okay? We put the rocks and the jar is full. Up to, we cannot like go above the surface of it. So it's full. So if I was actually thinking to bring this, but time didn't, I didn't get time to find a jar and all of these items. Anyway, try to imagine I have this cup in here and I have a few stones. And I put the stones and I fill it up to here with the stones. Is it full?
Yes.
It's full, right? But actually it's not as full. Because if I get some more sand, I can add it. It will fit in. Do you think it's full? No, it's not full. Because I can get some more water or any liquid and put it and it will fit in, right? But what do you think if I fill it with sand in the first place? Is it going to be accepting of any more stones or anything? No. So put first things first. Imagine that those rocks are the most important goals in life. Education. First of all, we said that the most important goal for a Muslim should be Al-Jannah, to attain the everlasting, blessed life in Jannah. So that should be there. You shouldn't compromise this. And we have so many other important things to be successful in life, education, having good family, so many other things that could be of importance to you, and you set your priorities in the way you want, right? If you put, and we have also like minor things, and again that will vary from person to person. What's minor to me could not be minor to you. What's minor to you might not be minor to me. But we do have a lot of things, watching movies, playing games, doing whatever that could be, for some people could be minor things. We could fill our life with that. A movie can, anywhere between an hour and up to 3, maybe more. If you're watching one of these Indian movies, never ends. So, that's not to, offend anybody, but Bollywood is known for that. So we can fill our life with so many things that are like sand, but the minute you do that, you will not have time for anything else. You cannot set the rocks, the big ones. That's going to come at the expense of your education, of other more important things in your life. You need to fit in the most important things in your life first, and then around those things you'll definitely have other things that can fit in. But if you put the minor things you will never be able to take more things. Just making sure the people in the room can hear me, because I always have technical difficulties, but I am determined tonight, inshallah. Yes, they can hear me. So habit number 3 again is what? If I can have you proactive, and that's probably coming in the next habit that will help you listen better, inshallah. So what is the habit that we're talking about right now again? In your own words? First things first. Al-awlawiyat, priorities, put the most important things in your life first. And then around them you can put a lot of things. People who do that, they master their life. They have very good skills of time management. They do not just feel that they are led in life. They do they behave in their life just as they are led. Friends would take them somewhere, they would go with them. There is a movie, they would watch the movie. They would go whatever without any plan. But people who put first things first, no, they have plan for their life. They prioritize things, they put everything in the right time, in the right place, and so on. Definitely we would have emergency, we have things that need to be done now. But many of these things, you could just think about them the other way around. What if this thing is not done at all? Well, you have to do it now. You have to go with me now. But what if this thing is not done at all? It's minor. You would not lose nothing. That's going to come at the expense. Yes, you need, if you are a student, for example, you need to study. But the exam is not tomorrow, or you don't have to study now. But if you keep giving priorities for minor things that are urgent, they will never end. And you have to, probably reset your schedule, or think about it in a different way. Some statistics or studies actually mention, some studies said that 80% of the results, the expected or the targeted results, are actually the actual results of 20% of the efforts put in the action. Like 20%, you put just 20% in planning, and the rest is going to be the results. So you need just part of your effort for organizing. We need to have a big event. Yes, let's start. Start what? Who will do what, when, where, how? Plan for it, and plan and plan, so you will have better consequences and results. So we prioritize things overall, and we set priorities as far as actions, like what to do first. It's not only what you like, because usually or sometimes you might start with what we like. I like to study this way, but is that the expected thing from me, or I am supposed to focus on certain things and do it a different way that I might not like the best? So people who put first things first, they will manage their time, they will be able to put the most important things first, or do the things as they should be done. Islam taught us, we read it in many ayat, in many hadith, that the most important thing anybody got in this life is life itself. نعمتان مغبون فيهما كثير من الناس. Two blessings that so many people are being, they lose so easily. الصحة والفراغ, health and time. Health and time. You're healthy, but you keep sleeping most of the day, or youth maybe doing drugs, doing things that destroy health and kill time. But these are the most important, as the hadith said, two of the most important things, blessings that anybody can get, time and health. So Islam is teaching us that this life is your capital. If you have a businessman, and he has his capital, that's going to be the premises of his investment. So you can do good actions that will take you to Al-Jannah. Where? When? In life. Here. You can be a successful person if you work. Where? When? How? Here in this life. So this is like the platform that you can use to do anything good or anything bad. So that's the most important thing that we have to realize in Islam. Al-Islam, our religion, draws our attention to the fact that life is so important and you need to think wisely about how to and what to do with it. Prophet ﷺ said one day, he was asked, a person asked him, who is the best person? He said the best person is the one who lives long life and has good action. So he's teaching us that living long or having more of the blessing of life is good as long as you do the right thing in it. You prioritize things and put the first things first in this life, which means you made the best out of your life, you're going to be the best. He told us also, the Prophet ﷺ, that you will be questioned about every part of your life, about everything that Allah gave you. لا تزول قدم عبد حتى يوم القيامة عند ربه. No person will be removed from his position or her position in the Day of Judgment unless or until they will be questioned about عن عمره, their lifetime, فيما أفناه, how did they spend it. You will be questioned. That's so important thing that you have been given, life. You will be questioned about your life. وعن شبابي, and specifically the second question is going to be about your youth time when you were active. What did you do with it? وعن ماله, about his or her property, money. من أين اكتسبوا, how did they acquire it? وفيما أنفقه, and how did they spend it? وماذا عمل, وعن علمه ماذا عمل فيه, and about his knowledge or her knowledge, what did he do with it? So obviously we don't gain money just for money. We don't live just for life. We do not gain knowledge just for knowledge. All of these are means for higher goals and targets in life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also told us this, that we have to have some kind of priorities for our life, and He draws our attention, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, O you who believe, لَا تُلْهِكُمْ أَمْوَالُكُمْ وَلَا أَوْلَادُكُمْ, let not your properties and or wealth and your children عن ذكر الله. Let not this, being busy with that, money and children, divert your attention from dhikrullah, remembering Allah, because وَمَا يَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْخَاسِرُونَ. Whoever does so, they are actually the losers. They are losers. Well, gaining money and having children, good children, that's important. But you are not here just for that, because animals, they do it. The animals are here for that. By instinct, they go after, to eat and feed their kids and take it and procreate. So what could be different between a human being and an animal? You just to procreate, and that's so important, definitely. But the most important is that the purpose of life that Allah created us for, which is to worship Allah, to remember Allah, to recognize Him and worship Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so many things teach us how to prioritize things. They always have a problem with saying this word. And not to be independent or subservient to others, because you need to sit it your own way. You don't have to sit your life based on or set your plan for life based on the plan of whatever, of a friend, of even parents, of anybody, because this is your life that Allah gave you and you alone will be questioned about. So you have to sit these priorities in such a way that you will have answers to the questions in the Day of Judgment. You will have a good life here, hayatan tayyiba, and you will have a good life in the hereafter. Yes. So, and in this regard also we see how Islam came like gradually. In the first period of the life of Islam, which is the Meccan period, the period that the Prophet ﷺ spent in Mecca, around 13 years, and then we have 10 more years in Medina. In those 13 years, most of the actions of Islam were not there. He was calling people for one thing, which is, what was it that the Prophet ﷺ was calling people for? Tawheed, monotheism. That's what Islam is about. Allah Allah alone. So he was building their character. He was building their personality so much that when Allah would say you pray 5 times, you give part of your money, this is how you get married, this is how you do whatever, they will be able to accept it. The platform is there. So the Muslims, the early Muslims, Allah invested or set, and the Prophet ﷺ invested so much time with them, teaching them the basics, sitting the first things first, or putting the first things first, because sometimes many people understand Islam as just being the rituals. You pray, you put on hijab, you do certain things. All of these are very important things, but they are not the most important. All of these are means or reflections of something that should be deep there in your heart, which is, being good from within. And that's not going to happen unless you are connected with the source of goodness, your creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of all, the creator of all. And in this regard also the Prophet ﷺ is teaching us, لا تكونوا إماعا. Don't be a yes person, yes man or yes woman. This kind of person who is always, they don't know how to say no. They don't know how to be independent. They always think of themselves as just like followers of others. So, لا تكونوا إماعا. تقولون إن أحسن الناس أحسنوا. Prophet said, don't be a yes man, don't be a yes person. When people do good, you do good. وإن أساءوا أسأنا. And if they do bad, you do bad. But rather, he gave us the instruction, وَطِّنُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. You have to train yourself. You have to teach yourself. إِنْ أَحْسَنُوا أَن تُحْسِنُوا. If they do good with them. But if they do bad, you don't follow them. You don't do wrong like that. That's the imna'. So, habit number 3 for the highly effective, most successful people is, for those who are following us, you can write it down. I am watching the room now. Habit 3 is what? Put first things first. Alright. Let's move to number 4. Habit 4. This is think when. Think when. Try to give it a guess. What does he mean by this? To think when. What could this refer to? Just trying to.
Doing the right thing at the right time.
Doing the right thing in the right time. That's generic but good answer. Yes? Know that you're going to succeed. That's almost half of the point that he is making. You are going to succeed, but there's 2 ways to look at this. You're going to succeed, it's like either or. That means the other person should lose for me to succeed. Either me or him. You see? But think when I can succeed with the cooperation of others, and I can help others succeed, and other can help me succeed. We can, like 2 people, if you think in 2 people, me and him or me and her, we can both succeed without any of us affecting the other person negatively. That's thinking win-win, which is like, think of the commonalities, the common things between, think, in a cooperative way. How can you cooperate with others? This is a way of life. This is a mindset. Usually people think of life as a pie, as a cake or something, and they think like if the other person takes 1 slice of it, that means it's diminishing. It's another person, my share is gonna decrease. A third person, that's the wrong way to look at life. You rather look at life as some kind of game that all of us, this is an example, are playing, and it's not like who will win and who will lose, but rather how much fun we get out of this game. We can help each other have a funny game. We can help and cooperate in attaining success in life without, it's not like either or. I succeed. So life is more cooperative rather than competitive. It's not competitive in such, because that will create a great deal of psychological pressure. Like you achieve success and other people in the class can achieve success, and you feel good for them succeeding, and you feel good also that it's not like you will win that definitely, or that means somebody else has to lose. This is also, subhanAllah, found in the Quran, the win-win principle. Yani when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, that was the way of the prophets and good people calling others. وَيَا قَوْمِ مَا لِي أَدْعُوكُمْ إِلَى النَّجَاةِ وَتَدْعُونَنِي إِلَى النَّارِ تَدْعُونَنِي لِأَكْفُرَ بِاللَّهِ وَأُشْرِكَ بِهِ مَا لَيْسَ لِي بِهِ عِلْمٌ وَأَنَا أَدْعُوكُمْ إِلَى الْعَزِيزِ الْغَفَّارِ لَا جَرَمَ أَنَّ مَا تَدْعُونَني إِلَيْهِ لَيْسَ لَهُ دَعْوَةٌ فِي الدُّنْيَا وَلَا فِي الْآخِرَةِ وَأَنَّ مَرَدَّنَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَأَنَّ الْمُسْرِفِينَ هُمْ أَصْحَابُ النَّارِ. That's one kind of conversation between a righteous person from the people of Fir'aun who stood up and made certain point that I will clarify now to his people. That was also highlighted by other prophets, like Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam, Prophet Noah, when he said, قُلْ إِنِ افْتَرَيْتُهُ فَعَلَيَّ إِجْرَامِي وَأَنَا بَرِيءٌ مِمَّا تُجْرِمُونَ. Like, it happened so many times in the Quran, like prophets are trying to say, well, we are calling you to something good, that if you take it, we are telling you you will win here and in the hereafter, and we have the proof for that. You are calling us for what? For something that you don't tell us what's going to happen if we do not believe in it. You don't have a proof for it. So like, we are calling you for a win-win case. Like, if you follow us, first of all, we're not charging you nothing. لا أسألكم عليه. You're not going to lose nothing. Here, you're winning because we are offering you something free. And we are telling you that you are winning in the hereafter. And in the same time, whatever religion you are following, it's not telling you nothing. You just made it up. Like, if you abandon it, what's going to happen to you? It's not those who are idol worshippers. The idols did not tell them nothing. So they are not losing. They are actually, like, they are telling them, if you are right, you will win here and the hereafter. If we are wrong, you did not lose nothing because we didn't charge you anything and there's nothing in there to lose. So it's a win-win thing, or it's a kind of negotiation, and this kind of thing, this kind of principle or habit, thinking or way of thinking or a mindset, win-win, this person will always be accepting the negotiation. You know, he will negotiate with others. He will try to reach a way somewhere in between that will achieve the benefit of everybody. Like the Prophet ﷺ, when he was getting into this pact or treaty, as he was coming from Medina to Mecca to make Umrah, and then the guardians, not the guardians, the people in charge of Mecca, they were non-Muslims, and they were trying to push him away, and they were trying to practice their arrogance and said, no, we will not allow you. You go back this year, and you come next year, and we have some conditions and stuff. And he agreed, or he, even though some of the conditions would really look like not fair for Muslims, but he was willing to negotiate things with them because he was thinking of the so many other benefits that he will get, because one of the most important things they agreed on will be in truce, which means no war for the next 10 years. He was really, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was really the Prophet, peace be upon him, he was ready to take this and give them all of the other unfair conditions because that was what he's looking for. So he even allowed them to get some benefits in there, pleasing them somehow for the sake of also getting a bigger benefit for his religion, for himself and the Muslims at this time. So he was thinking win-win case, we are not losing nothing. And that's exactly what happened. In a couple of years after that, Islam will spread in times of peace much more than any other time, much more than times of war. So here in the States, for example, we have so many people coming to accept Islam with all of this garbage out there in the media and the news and in the community about Muslims, because when people think, peacefully and quietly about Islam, well, it makes sense. It makes sense. So that is what habit number 4, think win-win. Think win-win. Think win-win. It's not about being nice, nor is it a quick fix technique. It is a character-based code for human interaction and collaboration. Most of us learn to base our self-worth on comparisons and competition. We talk about this. Like, we compare ourselves to others, and You know, this is how we evaluate ourselves. We think about succeeding in terms of someone else failing, which is wrong. That is, if I win, you lose, or if you win, I lose. Life becomes a zero-sum game. There's only so much, you know, this pie to go around. You always think of you know, competitive. He's talking about the competitive form of life, or التنافس في الحياة, where everybody is like getting his share and rushing to it before anybody else is taking it. That's wrong. Win-win sees life as a cooperative arena, not a competitive one. Win-win is a frame of mind and heart that constantly seeks mutual benefit in all human interactions. Win-win means agreement or solutions are mutually beneficial and satisfying. We both get to eat the pie, and it tastes pretty good. Okay, that's enough as far as this principle and as far as habits for today. Next time, inshallah, we'll continue with that. If you have any questions or any comments or any additions, this is the time for it.